Hey everybody, it's Sunnie from GG. I just wanted to hop on here live from West Virginia. We're in the middle of a snowstorm, so that's fun. I wanted to get on here so I could tell you a little bit about the screening process. If you have questions about anything, go ahead and leave comments as we get through it. But the main thing we wanted to talk about was, how do I get that first $1,000 before I'm even matched with intended parents? So we know that our surrogates are working really hard in the screening process, so we want to reward them for that. Um, so one of the ways we reward our surrogates is if they can have a pre-screening call within 30 days of their consult. We're going to go ahead and give them $500 right off the bat. So the question you have to ask is, what do I need to do to have a pre-screening call within 30 days of my consult? So it's actually a lot easier than it sounds. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to start sending in some paperwork. So right after you have your consult, the next day, your admission specialist, whether it's me or Becky or Lisa or somebody else on my team, we're going to reach out to you the next day and we're going to get you started on paperwork. So the first things we're going to do is we're going to send you agreements. There'll be about 4 agreements that you'll review and sign. In addition to those agreements, we're also going to have you fill out a really easy form. Just let us know what OB and hospital you're going to be using for this pregnancy. So that's pretty simple, right? The other thing we want to do is we want to just verify something. So we're going to have the surrogate send in driver's license and IDs, or excuse me, driver's license and social security cards for her, and if she has a partner, her partner as well. We're also going to verify her income. So part of the program is we do have a minimum income requirement, which is $1,800 a month. So we like to have them send in pay stubs, tax forms, 1099, anything that can really verify their income. That's what we're going to do. We're also going to use that as a way to, verify that they can get a work benefit package, because that is one of the options. Does the surrogate work, or is she a stay-at-home mom? So those are the first couple things you're going to send in. You're also going to send in your insurance information. So that's your medical insurance. So we do have some insurance companies that allow us to use the surrogate's own personal medical insurance as a way to cover her throughout the pregnancy for her maternity care. Now, we're not going to use this insurance for the IVF treatment or anything like that. This is strictly just going to be for maternity care. So when you're going to your OB office visits, when you're going to actually deliver the baby, we actually found this was actually a benefit for both the intended parent and the surrogate. So we all have deductibles on our insurance, and if you do come out of pocket with copay, we reimburse you for those expenses, and then that also breaks down your deductible a little bit. So that can benefit you in the long run as well. And the biggest thing we're going to have you do, we're going to have you send in your pregnancy records. So we're going to have we want to have those pregnancy records come in because we want to make sure that we are not putting anybody in a situation where it's not safe. So we want to review your pregnancy history, make sure that the doctors think, yes, this is a good candidate for surrogacy. Her getting pregnant is not going to be dangerous. She's going to be completely protected, and we can recommend her and know that confidently. So once we get all of that information compiled, I'll start processing that paperwork, and while I'm processing paperwork, I'm going to have you work on your profile. So the profile is actually where you get to write your letter to your intended parent. You're going to tell them a little bit about your support system, your support network, your day-to-day, tell them about your children. That's the favorite part, right? Brag about your kids. We all love to brag about our kids. So the other thing you're going to do is you're going to talk about like the type of relationship you want for your journey. Really kind of like just put it all out there as to who you are if you were to present yourself to these future intended parents. So while you're working on your profile, like I said, I'm going to process the paperwork. So that can take some time. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have your medical records reviewed. The medical record review can take anywhere between 2 to 5 business days. So depending on the size of the records, some records seem to be a lot longer than others. So that's going to depict how long that happens. Once the medical records come back and review and they say, hey, she's good to go for screening, I'm going to immediately send you to our insurance company called New Life Agency Insurance. They are an outside insurance company. They will offer us maternity benefits. So that's great because we know that we can get you insurance if your personal insurance doesn't cover. They're also going to offer insurance to your intended parents for the newborn once the baby is born. They're going to offer cycle insurance, life insurance, any insurance we could possibly need for this process. New Life Agency is going to be there for us. So the first step of getting them to be there for us is to get you pre-approved. So I will send your records to them. I will send also the doctor's recommendation for you for surrogacy. So they'll start processing that in what we call underwriting. So a lot of people might be familiar with that term already. The underwriting process takes about a week, so it can be quite extensive. So that is going to be a reason that you want to get your paperwork in quickly. While we're getting your records underwritten, what we're also going to do is we're going to also submit your IDs and social security cards. We're going to use that to run your background check. So we just want to do a driving record, history record. Hey, Kelly. Hey, Melinda. We want to do a driving history record check. We also want to do a criminal background check. Pretty standard to what you could expect going into this process. So once we have all of those things done, once we have all of those things done, we're also that's when I'm gonna set up to time with you to have a pre-screening video call. So at that pre-screening video call, if we can get that in 30 days, then you're going to get that first $500. So like I said, it can happen in the matter of 4 weeks that you're already getting $500 for being a surrogate with our program. It's something that Growing Generations is proud to offer our surrogates, and I'm happy to say that we can do that with your help of getting your paperwork in quickly. So you're probably wondering, why do we need to have this pre-screening video call? Just send me to screening already. But it's actually really important. The first call that you're ever going to receive after your application is accepted is a consult call. And it's about a 90-minute phone call where we go over a lot of information from the day after your consult clear until you deliver. So we know you're not going to remember all of that. And so a way to set you up for success is we're going to do the process one step at a time after you get converted to the admission side. So the next step is that pre-screening process. So I want to have a call with you where I can tell you about what we're going to do for next steps. So on the call, we're going to discuss insurance. Did your insurance cover? Did it not cover? We're going to discuss profile exchanges when you get to meet your intended parents, which is pretty exciting. We're also going to discuss a few other things like what to expect when you go out to LA. We're going to go over travel, what you would like to see there. So the one thing we're going to do after your pre-screening video call is you're actually going to have a call with Fertility Counseling Services. So there's a couple parts of the pre-screening process, and this is the first part. You're going to get on a video call with somebody from Fertility Counseling Services. That's the psych team we use. They're going to kind of do a pre-screening call with you and your partner. Like I said, it is going to be a video call, so you're going to want to be set up in a position where you can really have an open conversation. You know, you're going to want to probably get a babysitter for the kids at this time because we're going to be discussing pretty serious things, and we just want to make sure everybody's paying attention there. So once you have that pre-screening video call, we're going to start you right on your local lab work. So there are a few tests we run before you even go out to LA. The reason why we do this is because we want to know if anything that we can correct can be done sooner rather than later. So one thing we want to look at is your glucose levels, your thyroid levels, your vitamin D, and your CMV levels. All of these things can be corrected. It can just take time. So we want to know sooner rather than later. So once you go for that local lab work, it's going to be about 3 to 5 business days, and we should have those results in. So it looks like Kale Hunter has a question for me. Do I have to pay for the insurance or take it from, excuse me, let me scroll here, or take it from my compensation? That's a great question. No, you do not have to pay for your insurance. When you go to some medical appointments, you might come out of pocket for some things like your copay or maybe a prescription, something that the doctor's prescribed. The good news is that you should already be receiving compensation at that point, or you should have received some sort of compensation. And then also, you return those receipts into our finance team, we're going to reimburse you for that money, so you shouldn't be coming out of pocket whatsoever. So I hope that answered your question for you. And then if we do get you a New Life Agency policy, your intended parents purchase that policy on your behalf, so you don't have to worry about that. All right, I see Bonnie's here today. Hey, Bonnie. I'm a returning surrogate. And no one has returned my calls. Well, you know what, Bonnie, we're going to take care of that. We'll give you a call back today after the call. I will call you myself and make sure we get you taken care of and moving on to next steps there. Let's see, Ashley. Hey, I believe I actually called you and told you my hospital takes 30 business days to send records, and they finally did, and I have my call this Monday. I haven't heard anything about the bonus for getting everything done from Becky. That's a great question and a great point, Ashley. So yes, your hospital took 30 days, and that's out of your control. We still need you to have that pre-screening call with Becky though. So once you finish your pre-screening call with Becky, what she's gonna do is she's gonna go ahead and let the finance team know that you got your records in and everything, but it wasn't at your fault. So we're not gonna hold that against you. And she's gonna go ahead and let them know that to go ahead and pay your $500. But you do have to still have that pre-screening call with her, which is why you haven't gotten it yet. So that's a great question, and that's probably one of my most frequently asked questions. Katie, it looks like she has a very similar question. So yeah, Katie, we will definitely not hold that against you, and we will give you that compensation. So as long as you still have all the other paperwork in a timely manner, and all we're waiting on is your medical records, and you just let us know, hey, I requested them, just like Ashley did. Hey, I requested them. They said it's going to be 30 days. Okay, I'm going to make note of that so you're not penalized for it. Oh, you're very welcome, Bonnie, and you're very welcome, Ashley. So thanks for the question, guys. If you have any more, keep them coming. It's really fun to interact this way. So I'll keep my eye down at the comment section. So I hope to hear from more of you. So we've gone over how to get that first $500. And like we said, that can be done in the first 30 days. But if we have an issue like medical records are taking too long, because we know they usually do, hospitals do not take into account the time sensitiveness of surrogacy. So we totally understand that. So that's fine. So like I said, after your pre-screening call with your admissions specialist, we will get you on a call with a fertility counseling services. So that's going to take about 30 minutes. Like I said, it's going to be on video with you or your partner. And then after that, you'll go for your local lab work. So Ashley, whenever you have that call with Becky, you should be pretty well set because you're going to know a lot of this information already. So once your lab work comes back, you're going to go ahead and keep your surrogate admission specialist up to date on when your cycles are. You actually want to do this every single month. So whenever your period starts, I know it's weird. Why am I telling somebody I've never met in person about my period? But you're gonna want to go ahead and email your admission specialist that, hey, today's day one. It's very normal for us. We get emailed things that a lot of people would think are unusual, but for us, it's completely normal and totally in our day to day. So go ahead and email that. You guys are going to look on that. You want to know when your periods are coming because we want to send you to LA based off of your cycle. So we need to make sure when you go to your screening in LA that you're going between day 5 and 14 of your cycle. So day 5 to 14 of your cycle is going to be the most optimal time for our doctors to have a really good view of everything. So we're going to go... What we'll do is we'll fly you into LA the night before. We'll work with you to pick the date. So if you start on the 1st, we'll say, okay, we can send you between the 5th and the 14th. If you have a partner, you're going to get with your partner to see what works best for childcare, what works best for school, work, all of those things. Let your admission specialist know, and they'll take care of booking everything. We're going to go ahead and book flights. We're going to go ahead and book your appointments. You don't have to worry about any of that. We're going to handle all of it. And you're not going to come out of pocket for the expenses for the plane. Excuse me. Excuse me. You're not going to come out of pocket for your air flight ticket, your hotel, or anything like that. Growing Generations is going to cover all of those expenses for you. So once we pick those dates and we book those appointments for you, we will let you know what to expect. So what to expect is you're going to fly out to LA the night before. You're going to wake up early the next morning and go straight to your psychological screening. The psychological screening is going to be for both you and your partner if you have one. The things you can expect to do is the first thing you can expect to do is have the MMPI. So this is a test on the computer. It's multiple choice. Excuse me, really convenient time to have a coughing fit. So it's multiple choice, and what we're going to do is it's just basically a personality test. It's pretty standard. It's been around for a really long time. There's nothing to study for or anything like that. It's just answer the questions open and honestly, and then you get to move on to the next second portion. So the second portion is actually when you sit down with our psychological team and get to know them a little better. So we introduced you to them during your pre-screening call, which is great, but now you probably want to get to the next step. So they want to make sure you're prepared for that. So they're going to meet with you and your partner. They're going to go over many things that you already talked about. One of our things that is most important to us at Growing Generations is safety. And one of the ways we keep this whole process safe is we do triple, double, quadruple check ourselves. We ask you the same questions multiple times. It's not because we don't know the answers. It's that we want to make sure that our answers are correct, and we want to check them again and again. So this is one of those final checks of, we know what all the answers are, but we need to ask you one more time just to make sure everybody is completely safe. So the psych team's going to be working with you. They're going to go over support network again. They're going to go over what to expect. They're going to go over your full history. You know, just making sure, like I said, that we're setting you up for success. Surrogacy isn't for everyone, and it's not always an easy process. So there are lots of questions that we know to ask to make sure that we are choosing the best candidates for the journey. So let's see here. Bonnie Garcia, hey Bonnie again, what is the age limit? So our cutoff typically is 38 years old for a surrogate, first time or returning, unless you were to return with the same intended parents, and then it's a case-by-case basis based off of doctor recommendations. All right, we have another one from Deidre. Hey, started journey many years ago, made it out to LA, but was stressed at the time to continue. 2 more kids later, 3 beautiful, healthy children. Our family is complete. I will be talking to my husband about resubmitting as long as he's still on boards. You guys are wonderful. Oh, thank you. We see that happen a lot where surrogates are like, I'm going to put it on pause, and they go and have a bigger, even more beautiful family, and they come back and they do a journey with us. So it just really means a lot that you kept us in your thoughts all these years and that you're still interested. So fingers crossed your husband is still on board as well. We would love to hear from you. Hey, Brittany, how are you? Kayla, hi. So yeah, those are the first steps of the screening process in LA. Like I said, the first thing is going to be your psych appointment. After that, we know you're away from your families, and we don't want to take you any more away from them than we have to. So what we're going to do is we're going to send you straight to your medical appointment. Of course, you can grab a bite to eat along the way. We don't want anybody fainting or anything like that. At your medical appointment, it's really cool because this is going to be the first time you get to meet the medical team. So the biggest questions are always questions about medications. It can be scary when you have never injected yourself with a medication before, or it can just be overwhelming in general. So people will have questions, and that's normal. So we want you to meet the medical team while you're in LA. They're going to do a consult about what to expect. They're going to make sure all your questions are answered. They're also going to make sure you're a good candidate there as well. Like I said, safety, safety, safety is always in the back of our mind in this process. So the medical team, they're going to do an examination. They're going to run some blood work. I've noticed that a lot of the partners who are men are afraid of needles. And the reason why I know this is because your partner, if you, they're going to also do some blood work on them as well. And that's just to make sure, you know, they are following the rules and keeping in with the program as well. We want to make sure everybody's staying safe. So the things we're testing while you're out there is for the surrogate, we're going to be doing a complete blood panel, making sure all your levels are normal. There's nothing to worry about there. We're going to do an intrauterine ultrasound. So we want to examine the uterus, make sure it looks good. You know, sometimes there are things like a polyp where it wouldn't stop you from proceeding, but we do need to take care of that. The other things we're going to do is STD testing, drug testing, very pretty normal things. Your partner, we're also going to do STD testing and drug testing on them as well, which is why they need to be okay with having their blood drawn. So these are just things to kind of keep in the back of your mind if surrogacy is something you think might be good for you. So once you finish with the medical appointment, both your medical and psychological appointments all together, they're going to be 2 hours each. So you're going to be about 4 to 5 to 6 hours of screening if something were to run long, or if you have a lot of questions, things like that. So you're going to be a full day of screening. And once you're all done with that, then we say, okay, rest up, go home, get back to your families, get back to your day-to-day. So you'll have about 2 weeks of normalcy at that point, where you might not hear from your admissions specialist that much. You know, we're always checking in. You might be working with the finance team at that point to be reimbursed. So for example, if you go out to LA and you eat some food, we do give you amounts, like you can have $75 per day per person that you can spend on food, and we're going to reimburse you for that. If you had to get childcare, that's out of the ordinary, so that you could come out to LA, go ahead and fill out that childcare reimbursement form. We're going to reimburse you for those expenses as well, up to $100 a day. Lastly, if you were somebody who traveled from over 200 miles away round trip, we're going to reimburse you for your travel expenses, like if you had to do gas, like if you were a drive-in or anything like that. Parking, that's another really popular one. So yeah, those are some things that you might be working on with us while you wait for your medical clearance. It's going to take about 2 weeks for that medical clearance to come through. Sometimes it does come in really fast, which is great. Sometimes it doesn't. So it usually on average, it takes about 2 weeks. At the 2-week point, we're going to know how that lab work, everything looked. If there's something that we needed to sort out, we're going to work on that with you. And hopefully we'll be getting medical clearance issued right away. So yeah, those are a few things that we want to look at while you're screening in LA. So once you do have that medical clearance, that's when you get your second $500. So like I said, after you have your pre-screening call, you get your first $500. Now, after you have your medical clearance, that's when you're going to get the second $500 of your compensation. So unlike the first $500 is not guaranteed. You do have to do everything in a timely manner. The second $500, it is guaranteed as long as you are medically cleared. So we love being able to say that you get $1,000 of your compensation with Growing Generations for being a surrogate if you get through the screening process in a timely manner. So I'm really proud to say that. That's definitely the most exciting portion of I think the topic today. But there are a few other things that I'm sure people have questions on, and you're probably wondering, so that's great, I'm screened and I'm medically cleared, but what about that intended parent profile you told me to fill out? So we do everything kind of at once. Once you have that pre-screening call, and hopefully you're getting that first $500 check, at the same time, you're also going to be working on getting what we call ready for profile. So essentially that means you're ready to start seeing intended parents. So we would have verified your insurance at this point. Your background checks would have come back and been cleared at this point. New Life Agency would have pre-approved you at this point. So we have all these things in place and your profile is complete. We can go ahead and start looking at the pool of intended parents we have to see who would be a good match for you. There are a lot of things that go into matching, and we actually have a video specifically on matching that we posted with Lisa Whippler. She's the director of the admissions department. She's a 3-time surrogate. She's a head of the matching team. She knows it all, but don't tell her I said that. So what we'll do is we'll get with the matching team. We're going to present all of your information. You might have preferences on your intended parents, and that's okay, and that's completely normal. But we want to make sure we're meeting those preferences. There are also things that your state might restrict us on. Some states will allow us to match, for example, a California surrogate can be matched with an intended parent from pretty much anywhere. Whereas we might have a state like Tennessee where we would need to make sure we're using a straight couple who genetically contributed to the embryo, both the male and the female. So for those surrogates, it might be a little bit harder to match because not everybody in our program would meet those requirements. So there's definitely quite a few things that go into matching. So because of that, we don't want matching to be the reason why your journey is slowed down. So we're starting it right away. It's also exciting, right? You're here to help a family build their family or create their family. So you want to meet them sooner rather than later. And we get it, and they want to meet you too. So let's go ahead and start that right after the pre-screening call. So like I said, I'm going to send all of your information over to my team, and what they're going to do is they're going to look through all the intended parents we have. Now, it's not a simple process as I just explained, and then you take into accountability things like personality and likes and dislikes, all of those things go into this. So it can be quite detail oriented. So we do take a couple weeks to find the profile for you. Yeah, we could probably send you a profile the next day, but it wouldn't be the right profile. And that's not our goal here. Our goal here is to send you the right profile, not just to send you any profile. So that's something to kind of keep in mind. Thanks, Brittany. Yeah, Kayla, I can definitely answer any questions that you have. And I appreciate her saying I'm the best. I kind of agree, but don't tell anybody I said that either. So yeah, like I said, there's lots of things that go into the profile exchange process. So it might take us a couple weeks to find the right intended parent profile for you. The good news is you're going to have an admission specialist working very closely with the matching team. We're going to give you probably bi-weekly, if not weekly, updates on where that process is at. And then once we have an intended parent profile to share with you, that's the exciting part. Hopefully I'm giving you a phone call, but quite honestly, usually there's a good chance it's going to be somebody else. We're all kind of itching at to give our surrogates a profile because we love the reactions. This is my first profile. It's so exciting. I've literally had people scream. So it's exciting for all of us, and we're blessed to have the opportunity to bring you that profile. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you a call. We're going to go over some of the basics. So what doctor are they working with? Do they have embryos created or not? Do they meet your preferences? And then do you have any questions? We don't expect that to be enough for you to make a decision, so don't worry. After that phone call, we're going to go ahead and send the full intended parent profile to you, where they also write a letter to their future surrogate, which is really sweet. They talk about the type of journey they want to have. They're going to go ahead and also talk about what to expect from them, what led them to surrogacy. So they're going to go over that. They're also going to fill out a questionnaire, which is something you do during your application process. We reconfirm at pre-screening. We reconfirm at screening. Did I mention that we check things more than once? I think I might have mentioned that. So yeah, all of that information, the intended parents have gone through the same thing. So we have all of that. Those are the things we're using to match you with the right IPs. That's what we call intended parents around here, by the way, are the IPs. So once we have that and we send it to your email, you can kind of review everything. Hey, Kayla. So you can review everything and see what you think. If you have a partner, you need to be talking to them about the profile. They need to be involved in this as well. Look, you need a support network for surrogacy. You think it takes a journey, or excuse me, it takes a village to get through surrogacy. And we know that we don't expect you to do it all alone. So talk with your partner, make sure they like them as well, because they're going to be just as well a part of this journey. They're going to be going to screening with you. They're going to be there running to the store late night when you need that ice cream, even though it's a blizzard outside. They're going to be there with you. So share the profile with them and then give us some feedback. We hope that you love the profile we sent you, but we don't want you to accept a profile that you don't want to accept either. So if you like them, that's amazing. You know, if you don't, that's okay too. That's nothing to feel guilty about. It's nothing that's crazy or completely unusual. This is an organic process, and we're learning who you are as we go. So we don't expect to always get it right, although we do try to always get it right. So like I said, you'll let me know if you accept the profile. If you do, that's amazing. What I'm going to do at that point is send all of your information over to the intended parents case specialist. They're going to get your information out to the IPs, and hopefully they like you as well. The thing with the IP profile review that you should probably know is they have a lot more information to kind of take into consideration. So yes, they're going on this emotional journey with you, but for them, it's also a financial journey as well. So they're going to be looking at things with finance. They're going to be looking at medical history. They're going to be looking at a lot of things. You'll also notice that based off of what brought the intended parents to Growing Generations, they might have preferences about things that are different than another set of intended parents. So we definitely try to vet all of that out before we start the profile exchange, but sometimes we have follow-up questions. And just like you might have questions about your IP profile, they're probably going to have questions about yours. My goal for you is that I can answer those questions for you. Sometimes I can't. I'm human, and so at that point I might reach out to the surrogate and ask her a little bit for more information. And if I can get that information to the intended parents, hopefully they're accepting your profile and you're moving on to the match meeting. So Ashley, real quick, I'll take a question from Ashley. We'll kind of pause that for a second. If you were a surrogate and want to do it again, is the process exactly the same with getting records and paperwork, or is it easier? I never want to say anything is easier. One thing I've learned since coming to Growing Generations is the process is constantly changing. We are working to stay at the cutting edge of the industry. As they come out with new standards, we're going to be the first ones to meet those. So that could have an impact in the screening in the sense that things could change. The good thing for our returning surrogates is we have a lot of your medical records already. So you don't have to send me the records from your own pregnancies. If I already have them, I can just grab them out from our files, right? But we will need the records from the pregnancy that you just delivered. So your surrogate pregnancy, or if you had your own pregnancy since the surrogacy, we would need those records as well. So it's a very similar process. The great news is for our returning surrogates, you already know fertility counseling services, so you don't have to do that pre-screening video call usually. We do try to get as many people on there, or something to consider, sometimes surrogates have different partners when they return. So if that's the case, then we would be looking at, having that pre-screening call with them again. So like I said, we just like to triple check things. I don't know how many times I've said that today. So apparently I like to triple check how many times I say that as well. But we just want to make sure everybody is set up for success. So that's a great question, Ashley. And we do find that returners think it's easier, yes, because it's not as intensive. But honestly, I think it's just easier because you know what to expect. You never know what to expect when it's your first time doing something. So you'll put this big obstacle in front of you, and then when you get on the other side, you're like, wow, I did that. But then the next time you come around, you're like, I've already climbed that hill. It'll be just as easy. So yeah, that's a great question. Hey, Heather, thanks for joining us. So yeah, like I said, after your IPs accept your profile, at that point, you're going to be looking at having the match meeting. That's the fun part. So the match meeting is going to be on Ring Central. So actually, fun fact, we have you do a Ring Central pre-screening video call and a Ring Central call with FCS, so that when you come to this match meeting that you're probably going to be nervous about, you already have experience with the technology. Makes it a lot easier for you. It takes a stressor out of the equation. So if you're wondering why we have you do that, that's why. Fun fact. But you'll get on Ring Central and you'll have a match meeting with your intended parents and also somebody from Growing Generations. We don't expect you to meet them for the first time all on your own. So we're going to be there to guide the process. We know surrogacy for somebody who hasn't been through it before can be a little unusual in the sense that it's not what you've ever, it's nothing like anything else you've ever done before. Said that right? So what we're going to do is we're going to guide that conversation. This isn't going to be like a blind date. We're going to guide the conversation in the sense that we know the questions to ask to make sure everybody has the same thing. There's also going to be an option to go ahead and ask questions if you want them for one another, and just make sure everybody's on the same page. It's nothing like when you get a profile and you fall in love and you meet them in person and it just doesn't translate. It's very rare that that would happen, but it has happened. So why continue at that point with somebody who it doesn't feel natural with anymore? So at that point, that's something, like I said, it's very rare, but it could happen, something to consider. But that's why we have the video match meeting. It's just kind of like, okay, we double, triple check. This is definitely the right couple for us, the right IPs, the right surrogate, and everybody's really excited to get to next steps. So in a nutshell, that's matching. But like I said, we have another video up on our channel from Lisa, and she goes into matching in great detail. We have a video up from Danielle as well, where she goes over compensation. So that would be a really informative one. And then we also have a video from Kelly. Hey, Lauren. We also have a video from Kelly, and she's actually a 3-time surrogate with Growing Generations, and she runs our referral program. She does a lot of the consults. She's just has many hats here at GG. But she really goes into, if this is something you've really been thinking about, but you're a little nervous, that's a great video to watch, because it gives you a really unique perspective of how amazing surrogacy is, and You know, we would love for you to learn more about it if it's something you're really interested in. Does anybody have any other questions before we sign out today? I will say the first step, if surrogacy is something you're thinking about, the first step is always research. You joining in today are taking that step. So I hope that we can hear more from you in the future. And if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to you can reach out to me directly. We can go ahead and give anybody my contact information. Just send us a message in Messenger, or leave us a comment on here. We will send you my contact information directly, like I said. I'm happy to get on the phone and talk to you, email you, whatever you prefer. If you want to do a Ring Central video call, you can get used to the technology now. We can do that as well. So thank you so much for joining in. It's been my pleasure to be here. You're welcome, Danielle. It's been my pleasure to be here, and I hope that coming on here today, you learned a little bit more about how to get that first $1,000 before you're even matched with intended parents. And we look forward to hearing from you in the future, and stay tuned for future live, Facebook Live on Growing Generations. And don't forget to give us a thumbs up, right? All right, bye guys.